Hello, viewer. How you doing? Thanks for joining us on this show, Real Talk Show, that is being hosted by yours truly, Violet Mbiti. I'm a team leader at Violet Mbiti Foundation, and I also chair the working group in Africa on political feminism, women empowerment, and women representation in African democracy. For more details about me, you can just go to the description section on this channel, and then now you'll get to know more about me. So today we are going to discuss the impact of COVID-19 on climate change, and with us we have guests who are from Nigeria, starting with Chiagozie, and then Kenya we have Caroline, and then Mali we have Kabane. We also have a sign interpreter, not a sign interpreter, but a French translator who's also going now to translate from French now to English, so that Kabane may be able to understand us more. So, my dear guest, kindly introduce yourself and state what you do. Starting with Chiagozie.
Yeah, hi viewers. Good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Yeah, I'm Chiagozele. I'm in Abuja, Nigeria now. I'm a climate activist, and basically with Plan for the Planet, our foundation, where we're working to plant 1 trillion trees globally, and hoping to reduce or capture 25% carbon emission in the next 10 years. We have a tree planting app for that purpose. I'm very happy to be here.
All right. Nice to hear from you, Chiagozie. Caroline, kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caroline Kibi from Kenya. I'm an environment scientist, a writer, so I advocate for environmental conservation through writing and, of course, through talk on EnviroWorld and EnviroPort. Thank you.
All right. So, it is so unfortunate that the world is undergoing now the COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused many deaths. But at the same time, you find that with regard to climate, you can see that air pollution has reduced. All right. So you find that at the moment that use of fossil fuels has reduced. You also find that people are not even using their vehicles. So you find that even industries have now closed because people are now chilling at home. All right. So today we are going to discuss now the impact of COVID-19 on climate change. So to start with, there's someone else who has joined us. It's called Bernard. Let him introduce himself. Bernard, welcome to this platform.
Yes. Thank you,
Kindly
Violet.
introduce
My
yourself.
name is Bernard.
All right.
Thank you, Violet.
So what do you do for
My name is Bernard.
Yes.
I'm a linguist. I'm a linguist by profession. And in this case, I'm a translator.
Okay. Nice to hear from you. So today we are going to discuss what is the impact COVID-19 is having on our environment. So I'd like to read something. The World Health Organization estimates that air pollution kills 4.5 million to 7 million people every year. Over 1 million of these deaths occur in China. China air pollution shrunk drastically between December, and March. Thick smog has given way to blue sky. Italy, where there is a lockdown, nitrogen dioxide levels have dropped, while in Germany, carbon dioxide levels have also reduced. So now I'm posing this question to my guests. You just heard that the positive effect of this pandemic on the environment. Is that good news? We can start with you, Chiagozia.
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, on the surface of it, yeah, it could be considered good news that we have emissions drastically reduced. We have, for the first time ever, flights grounded globally. I think the airline industry is running at less than 20% of its capacity, and we have industries shut down. So, of course, evidently, it's resulting in a more clearer sky, more healthy oxygen to breathe. It could be considered some positive, but on the other side, it didn't have to take this virus to get people to behave properly. It didn't have to take this virus to get us to really know, get to that point where we could do some things that we didn't know was possible. Economies are shut down, flights grounded, things that we never ever thought could happen on a normal basis when we are, prioritizing economic growth and other things. So it is positive, but then it didn't have to take this virus to remind us of this. And then also, it's not like it will continue that way. So on the inside, you have to be a bit cautious.
All right. So I'd like to ask you, Caroline, the same question. Are the positive effects of this COVID-19 on the environment? Is that good news or is not?
Well, just like Ude said, to the environment, it's good news. But given that we are talking about a pandemic, that people have lost lives, nothing is going on basically, then we'll not look at it from that point of it's good news, because we could have done it. There are so many things we could have done to address the issue of air pollution, climate change. But now we are talking about a pandemic. Yes, it has happened. We've seen the positive side. There are animals out there in the streets. The air is clean. We've been told, we've seen yeah, we've been told that the amount of carbon emissions into the atmosphere, or rather the air pollutants in the atmosphere, have reduced drastically, considering the satellite images released by NASA. So yes, it's good that the environment is clean, we can breathe, but we should not be happy that it's happening based on a pandemic like this.
All right. So, Kabine has joined us.
Yeah.
Could you kindly introduce yourself? All right. The translator is off for a while, but when he comes back, we are going to get back to you, Kabine. So
Okay, no problem.
All right. So I just wanted to ask you, Chiagozie, is there a long-term significance of this decrease on the environment?
Well, it depends on how long this lockdown lasts, and also what happens after that. In the immediate, of course, it's a big relief for the planet. It feels like the planet is breathing again, inhaling enough oxygen for itself, trying to rebuild itself. But then the lockdown, if I would say, would be quite short. That the Earth would not get enough time it needs to really rebuild. So it depends on the strategies we adopt after now. Are we going back to our normal ways of burning fossil fuels in reckless manner? or are we going to use this opportunity to develop in a green way, since we already saw the kind of concessions we can make, since we already saw that some meetings could be emails, that some meetings could be webinars, that some conferences could be just webinars. Since we already saw we may not need to fly that much, we may not need to go to the office, some work can be done remotely, that we may not necessarily need to go out every day, that we may not need to use our private cars, of, this kind of things that the pandemic has forced us to learn. It depends on if we sustain them or not. So if we are going to sustain them, like, of course not completely, we understand, but at least to some extent, that will help the planet to rebuild a bit. If you watched around the world in some beaches, in some water bodies, you will find the aquatic animals coming out to nest at the sands. You could see through the water. You could see birds that originally could not come to that close to the beach. They are returning. They are having fun underwater, because people are not there. They're enjoying themselves for the first time in a couple of decades. They've never had this time, to enjoy their natural habitat. We've really pushed the boundaries of the environment and climatic conditions.
Okay, all right. So what is your feedback on the same, Caroline?
Well, I would easily say it is not going to have any long-term significance on the environment, because this lockdown is not going to last forever.
Can you hear us, Caroline?
Yes, I can. Hello, you can hear me? Well, what I'm saying, Violet,
okay,
I hope you can hear me. Okay, fine. What I'm saying is this is not going to have any long-term...
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so this is not going to have any long-term significance on the environment, based on my view, because the lockdown is not something that is going to last for long, and sooner or later, we are going to get back to our lives. So what is going to happen? We might end up going into double, triple production to compensate for what we lost, or for the amount of time that we are not producing. So I don't know the amount of emissions we are going to inject into the atmosphere. I don't know the amount of human activity we are going to have in the environment, or rather on the environment. So I would not say it's going to have any long-term significance, but for the short period that we are seeing the positive effects on the environment, then we can appreciate that, but we need to do more to ensure that after the lockdown, we can progress with we can take up whatever we've learned from this lockdown and improve the environment.
Okay. So I just wanted also to ask, after this pandemic, do you think the fight for climate change will reduce? So we can go to you, Chiagozie.
Well, I mean, we are not demotivated. We are watching carefully. We are learning new lessons every day. We are actively observing. Even as the pandemic is on, we are working. We are hosting webinars. We are talking to member states. We are updating NDCs, the nationally determined contributions that is going to be used to implement the Paris Agreement. We are working on adaptation measures. We are hosting meetings that have been previously canceled. We're hosting them online. So we are not going to stop. If anything, it's going to re-energize us to keep working, to keep pushing, because now we just relaxed back to what I said. Oh, really? This is possible. So flights could be grounded. So economies could be shut down. Like we're realizing that things that were not possible, even money we never knew existed somewhere, are being spent now. So we can even demand for more. Now all we can do, all this has shown us, is that there is no justification whatsoever for countries, for member states not to raise ambition for climate action. There's no justification whatsoever. Every ambition is possible and can be achieved, and that is what we will strive for.
All right. So I'd also like to hear your feedback, Caroline. We are trying to get the translator back on. So that's why Kabine is not yet on. Okay, kindly go ahead, Caroline.
Well, I would say yes and no. Yes, on this aspect that we've learned a lot from the pandemic. We've seen the extent that human beings can go in degrading the environment, and also we've realized that we have the solutions to these environmental problems. We have the solution to fight, to act on climate change. We have this. There's a lot of noise, eh? Well, so I was saying, can we proceed?
Okay, just wait a minute. Kabine, is there
Yes.
noise? There's nothing from your side. Where is it coming from? All right, kindly go ahead.
Okay. So like I said before, it's a yes and no answer for me. One, yes, the fight for climate change might reduce if we are going to focus on the aspect of improving our economy over fighting for environmental conservation. If we are going to look at how are we going to get back into our feet the way we were before the lockdown, how are we going to progress our economies and all that, then some people might politicize everything and end up, forgetting to advance their ambitions, their country ambitions towards reducing the emission levels. But on the other side, we are not going to relent on action on climate change. And this is because we've seen what humanity can do to the environment. We've seen that it's the human activities that degrades the environment. It's because of our increased production, the use of flights, use of burning fossil fuels, use of vehicles, petrol-fueled vehicles that inject a lot of emissions, carbon emissions into the atmosphere. So in that case, once we realize that, then we might be motivated, and I hope that is going to happen, to ensure that we ground our activities, check on what we can slash down, and fight for climate change, fight to reduce the emissions, fight for every country to ensure that they meet their ambitious goals. Each country has set a goal. I think 2020 was the year that we thought every country was going to, they were going to.
All right. Yeah, Caroline has disappeared. So Kabine.
Yes.
The translator is, where he is, there is no electricity. So there's power outage, and his phone is not doesn't have enough power charge. So I just wanted to ask, if I speak slowly, will you be able to respond in English?
Oh. I want to speak French. I don't know. I have your question here. I give my answer for in French.
Will you give your answer in French? Okay.
Yes.
So we try to reach out to the translator, and then now we see whether we can get another one to be on standby. All right. So, Gozie, I think there's a background noise from your end. Oh. Kabine, is there background noise on your end?
Sul. Ita nga may kana tradition. Okay, I have my friend.
You have what?
Yes. Okay, my friend is here. Is translation for me.
Oh, good. Let him also. Okay. Caroline. All right. So kindly introduce your friend, the one who's going to interpret for you.
Yes.
Just invite him so that he can introduce himself.
Okay.
Yeah, you are the translator. All right. So, Kabine.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. So my question is, we just had the. Let me repeat the statement again, so that now you can understand where we are coming from. So the World Health Organization estimates that air pollution kills 4.5 million to 7 million people every year. Over 1 million of these deaths occur in China. China air pollution shrank drastically between December and March. Thick smoke has given way to blue sky. In Italy, where there is a lockdown, nitrogen dioxide levels have dropped. In Germany, carbon dioxide levels have also reduced. So my question to you, Kabine, we just had the positive effects of this pandemic on the environment. Is that good news? Kindly respond.
Yes.
Le translation ga fanfla là, c'est ça. C'est ça, un mot fort.
Question digaba.
Ah, ok, question dig. Répéter question, répéter.
So viewers, let us wait for the translator to assist Kabane.
Okay.
All right, Miss, can you please repeat the question again? I'm really sorry about it.
All right, that's okay. So I just wanted to let me start the statement again.
Yes.
The World Health Organization estimates that air pollution kills 4.5 million to 7 million every year. Over 1 million of these deaths occur in China. China air pollution shrunk drastically between December and March. Thick smoke has given way to blue skies. In Italy, where there is a lockdown, nitrogen dioxide levels have dropped. In Germany, carbon dioxide levels have also reduced. So my question is, we just had the positive effects of this pandemic on the environment. Is that good news?
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm going to translate to him.
All right.
You know,
Okay.
ni pandémie mun kɛra est-ce que effet mun kɛra environnement ni fɛnw kan parce que a ye statistique ni fɛn ninnu dɔw di mais e bolo est-ce que nin kɛra positif ye environnement kan ou bien non?
Ok, oui, c'est... Ça a été quelque chose de très positif.
Yeah, it's been something very positive on the environment.
Yeah. Sur l'environnement, dans la mesure où le COD, le gaz carbonique, a diminué de à peu près 50% sur la planète.
Yeah, but I don't know about what he just said exactly, but he's basically saying it was a positive on the environment.
Les grands pollueurs comme les États-Unis, l'Inde, la Chine ont tous diminué leur COD.
The countries like United States, China, you know, and India, they all diminished the, you know, pollution. Everything was diminishing, you know, lately.
Donc, cela a été d'un apport capital par rapport à l'environnement. Mais la vie humaine n'a pas de prix, donc on déplore cela. Mais par rapport à l'environnement, ça a été quelque chose de positif.
Yeah, this was really positive on the environment while we still deplore the human life that, you know, people are dying because of this pandemic. But in some way, it's been really positive on the environment as a whole. Okay. So, you know, that's it.
Any question?
Oh, is there any other question?
Yes, I have another question for him.
Yes.
Is there long-term significance of this decrease on the environment?
Est-ce que, you know, long term, you know,
positif.
Yeah, positif, yeah.
Oui, ça, en long terme, ça peut être positif dans la mesure où, si cette pandémie prend fin, est-ce que les dirigeants vont prendre conscience que c'est l'être humain qui est en train de détruire la planète et voir dans la mesure du possible comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent maintenir ce cap de diminution des COD.
Yeah, in case if this pandemic, you know, finish anytime soon, is all the government in the world gonna decide to really diminish the pollution, you know? That's what he's saying right now. You know,
all right.
Yeah.
So, I have a question now for. I have a question for Chiagozie. Chiagozie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, so I have a question for you, and it's the same question that I'm going to ask the other participants. So the lockdown also causes drastic cuts in carbon dioxide emissions to the degree that Germany can also reach its climate goals this year prematurely. Is lockdown needed to reach climate change targets? Because you can see, like Germany, the climate change target that it had set for this year, it has achieved. All right. So, is lockdown necessary for this to happen?
Obviously not, or apparently not. So we have to find, that's why it has to be sustainable, it has to be systemic, it has to be planned. So we are not going to need lockdowns to achieve basic targets for climate change. This happened because, you know, it's unplanned, it's a deadly virus that transmits in the fastest way possible. and we needed unusual measures, to control that. I don't really see any country in the immediate future, at least, needing lockdowns to be able to achieve climate targets. That will be way overboard. What we need is responsible humanity, responsible living, responsible businesses, responsible cooperation. Just being responsible. That's what we need. And when we have this sense of responsibility and this act of responsibility in a lot of places amongst the about 7 billion people in the world across continents, then we can achieve a more systemic, sustained, emission reductions and climate targets without needing to lock down people. But if we decide to return to status quo after this pandemic is over and enjoy our lives again, it will return maybe in a decade or even sooner than that, because we've really pushed the boundaries of environmental and climate well-being.
All right. So, Caroline, what's your response now to the same question?
Well, I'm of the same opinion as Ude. We don't need lockdowns for us to achieve our climate targets. Even before the lockdowns, we were progressing well. Countries were on the path to achieving their targets. But lockdowns are just short-lived. And looking at the current lockdown or the restrictions we have right now, those were occasioned by a pandemic that has cost lives. Occasioned by a pandemic that it has stopped the production, the economy, and all that. So really, we don't need lockdowns for us to achieve our climate change targets. We need reasonable policies and strategies to address this issue, to address climate change. We need governments to be responsible and adhere to their targets. If they set up targets to meet, say, in 2020, 2025, then they should work towards achieving those targets. And like Ude said again, businesses need to be responsible, citizens need to be responsible. This is a collaborative thing. One person cannot fight or act on climate change. It's a progressive action that we need to do as a citizen of the world and a citizen of a specific country. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So I'd like now to come to Kabine. So Kabine, what is your response to the question posed?
Bon, après le confinement, yes, si les gens sortent, je pense que oui, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Donc après le confinement, si les gens sortent, le gouvernement doit prendre des mesures maintenant pour accompagner les gens pour que cette pollution, on puisse maintenir le cap.
Yeah, he's saying that after this lockdown, the government have to work with everybody, whether it's in Africa, in US, anywhere in the world.
So
the government.
I wanted to ask Kabane.
Yes.
Yes. I'm here.
Yes, we can perfectly hear you.
Hello. Hello.
All right. So ask him again, is lockdown necessary to ensure that climate change targets are met?
Est-ce que ni lockdown, oui, c'est nécessaire que, avec un double climate change là dans le futur? Parce que moi, je sais tout d'un quoi.
Bon, c'est possible, mais il faut maintenir le cap. Si on reste dans cette dynamique, même quand les gens sortent, il faut prendre des mesures par rapport à ça. Par exemple, les voitures, on peut dire les voitures de 2009, 2010, 2011 vont rouler pendant des jours. Tous ceux qui ont les voitures de cet âge vont rouler de lundi au mardi. Bon, 2015 vont rouler de mercredi à jeudi pour que la pollution puisse diminuer un peu, surtout les pays développés, qui se disent développés, comme les États-Unis, la France, l'Allemagne, la Chine et l'Inde.
Yeah, he's talking about, this lockdown is just it's just gonna be for a short period of time. If we come out from this lockdown, all the government, especially the United States and China, those who got more pollution than anybody else, they have to continue to ensure that we're gonna maintain the cap and try to really diminish what we can do. Because this lockdown is just going to be for a short time, and afterward we're going to have to deal with the reality again if we really want to diminish the pollution, by
Et
yeah.
Ouais, par exemple, les voitures les voitures qui ont plus de 10 ans vont rouler pendant 2 jours chaque semaine. Ceux qui ont plus de 5 ans vont rouler 2 jours chaque semaine. Ceux qui ont plus de 2 ans vont rouler 2 jours par semaine. Donc, et puis les samedis et dimanches, chaque pays peut prendre des mesures les samedis et dimanches étant chômés dans plusieurs pays. Donc, qu'il n'y ait pas de voiture en circulation pendant ces 2 jours.
Yeah, his idea is that on the weekend, since almost all over the world, nobody's working on the weekend, all the cars must stop, going around, because this is still going to increase the pollution. That's the last thing he had to say.
All right. So kindly tell Cabinet to mute his line.
Yes.
Because there's some not electricity. Line to mute the yes, the laptop or computers. So because of the background noise.
Okay.
Yeah, mute.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
All right. So, Caroline, I'd like to ask you. Oh, it's not working out. Okay, Cabinet.
Yes.
Hold on one second.
Okay, let me ask you this other question. After this pandemic, do you think the fight for climate change will reduce?
Après le confinement, est-ce que vous pensez que le changement climatique va diminuer?
Bon, j'espère si les dirigeants prennent les choses en main, surtout le dirigeant américain qui, aujourd'hui, quand il est venu, il a retiré les États-Unis de l'accord de Paris. Si ils arrivent toujours, les pays qui se disent développés arrivent à maintenir le cap, je pense qu'on peut maintenir le cap, on peut avancer avec un impact très positif sur l'environnement.
Yeah, he say he hope that after this lockdown and pandemic, everything, all the country is gonna be responsible, to reduce the whatever they doing for the to reduce the climate change. That's basically it.
All right. So, Chiagozie, what is your response? What would you like to add to what Kabine has stated?
Can you repeat the question, Mister?
After this pandemic, do you think the fight for climate change will reduce?
Apparently not. I mean, it's in two ways. So first is you talk about the countries, the government, and also on the part of the activists. For us, for the activists, I think we even have more reasons to sustain momentum that we built from last year, especially young activists. But for government, it could be slightly different. Some government may want to use this as an opportunity to develop in a green way, to develop in a sustainable way, while others would use this as a race to return to status quo. That would mean burning incredible amount of fossil fuel and incredible amount of emissions to be able to return to where they were before. These two scenarios could play out where we'll see some countries being responsible in developing in a green way or recovering in a green way, like the EU is now championing for a new Green Deal. I also saw South Korea had a new leadership, and they're also looking to implement, a green strategy for recovery. This is an incredible opportunity that all countries have to really develop in a sustainable way, but not all of them will take it. So yes, some will go the right way, some also will go the fossil fuel way. But for us, climate activists, we're ever resilient and strong in our demands, and now we have more reasons to make even more ambitious demands because we know they are actually very possible to achieve with political will.
All right. So I'd like to come to you, Caroline.
Yes.
So after this pandemic, do you think the fight for climate change will reduce?
Well, it's hard to say whether it will reduce or not. It depends on so many things. One, it may reduce if governments and the private sector are going to prioritize on getting back on their feet. If they're going to, they want to overproduce to compensate on what they lost, to compensate on the, now let's look at the currency for several countries. For instance, here in Kenya, our currency now is weakening. So if we are not keen, then maybe the political sector will focus on, we want to revive our economy, we want to strengthen our shilling. So, they will focus on reviving the economy, getting the country back into its feet, and they forget about fighting for climate change. In as much as we have ambitious goals, we were focused on ensuring that we need to meet these targets, we need to reduce our emissions. Yeah, so that could go that way. But on the other end, for people, organizations, and institutions that are keen to ensure that climate change or the effects of climate change are brought down, then they are going to fight it to the fullest. They are going to take it further. Like right now, I think I've seen online climate strikes, Friday for Future, or is it Future for Friday? I mean, things are ongoing. So it means people are not relenting. People are not sitting back and just looking at, let's focus on the pandemic. No, life is still going on. And considering climate change, the effects of climate change are as adverse as any other pandemic. They affect human life, they affect the environment, they affect wildlife. So it means someone who is keen, the environment activists, climate activists, organizations that champion for a better environment are not going to look back and say, we are not going to do anything. I think they are going to take this one as a step forward to improve the environment, to meet the climate targets. So that's my opinion.
All right. So we are going now to the next question. But before we do so, viewer, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe so that you can get notified anytime we upload new videos or we go live. All right. So this is my next question to all of you. Is there direct connection between human activity encroaching on ecosystem and the effect on the pandemic? I can start with you, Kabine.
Say the question again, please. Sorry.
Is there direct connection between human activity encroaching on ecosystem and the effect on the pandemic?
Avec ami for est-ce qu'il y a une relation directe sur activité humaine et écosystème, oui.
Oui, il y a une relation entre l'activité humaine. C'est l'être humain qui est au centre de l'écosystème et de cette pandémie.
Yeah, he's saying that the human being is the number one, that says
Qui est au centre de l'écosystème et de cette pandémie.
Human being is the number one for this pandemic. He's the number one concern for this pandemic, and he's the number one responsible, for all of this. So,
parce que l'être humain ne respecte plus non seulement la nature, ne respecte plus les animaux.
Yeah, the human being that they don't respect anymore the nature and animals.
Donc le fait de détruire l'environnement.
Yeah, the destruction of the environment.
Il y a un respect strict par rapport aux animaux aussi. On voit que la pandémie est venue des animaux.
Since we see that, the pandemic is coming from animals. Yeah.
Donc, ce problème, comment est-ce que il faut cadrer l'être humain et les animaux? Est-ce qu'il faut des règles par rapport à ça dans le futur pour qu'on n'ait plus ce genre de trucs? Parce que les animaux aussi, nous devons les respecter.
Yeah, we really do have to respect the animal, and we do have to have rules how to deal with animals, since we all know that this pandemic might have come from the animals.
Et ils font partie de l'environnement aussi.
And they part of the environment too.
Donc l'impact c'est l'être humain qui est à la cause de tout ce qui arrive aujourd'hui sur la planète.
And the human being is the number one cause of all of this, pandemic and global, say it again.
De tout ce qui arrive sur la planète.
And whatever is happening right now in the world.
Surtout les grands décideurs.
Yes, and especially the powerful countries.
Les décideurs des pays qui se disent développés ne pensent que à leur propre intérêt.
Yeah, the countries, the so-called, a powerful country, they only think about their only interests.
Parce que nous, les pays africains, quand on parle de pollution, nous sommes mineurs par rapport à la pollution.
Yeah, when we're talking about pollution in African country, we really don't have a lot of share, in that thing.
Nous n'avons même pas d'industrie pour pouvoir polluer autant.
Yeah, we don't have really an industrial complex in Africa that's going to really hurt the universe as those, countries.
Mais aujourd'hui, c'est nous qui racontons les conséquences.
But today, if you see a lot of consequences is on African people. Yeah.
Donc, à ce titre, il faut une solidarité internationale. Il faut que les pays qui se disent puissants, qui se disent industrialisés, pensent au futur de ce monde, aux générations futures.
The countries as the powerful country from right now on, they need to have a really consideration for the whole humanity, not the only interest of the population.
Et c'est tant qu'on ne prend pas les générations futures en compte, nous allons détruire ce monde.
If we don't really think about the future generation, we're going to keep on destroying the environment.
Et je pense que les activistes doivent saisir cette occasion aussi pour maintenir la pression sur les décideurs pour que, au finish de cette pandémie, que l'atmosphère soit maintenue à un cap acceptable.
he thinks that time have come to the activists to be really in the forefront to push, to put pressure on those industrial countries not to destroy the humanity.
Après cette pandémie, pour que la pression reste toujours, pour que le gaz carbonique soit maintenu à un niveau acceptable.
They have to be really working hard to really, help whatever necessary they can do so the cap, whatever we are right now during this pandemic to not go beyond that anymore.
All right. So is it done?
Yes.
All right. So I'd like to hear your response, Caroline, to the same question.
Well, I'm going to be very brief on this. If we are talking about if all factors are held constant and we are of the assumption or the belief that the virus was caused by consumption of okay, sorry.
Kabine, there's some noise from your side. Okay, minimize movement. Okay, Caroline, you can go ahead.
Okay, what I was trying to say is if all factors are held constant and the assumption that the virus came from animals, then there's a direct connection between human encroachment and human activity on the pandemic. It clearly shows that humans don't respect wild animals. We are encroaching their territories. We are not treating them as animals. Animals should be animals. I don't think we need to eat all animals for us to be satisfied. Yeah, so if that is the case, then yes, humans have they have a responsibility to take with respect to the occurrence of this pandemic. And that tells you that humanity needs to be really cautious about what they are doing, the activities on the planet. Yes, the population is growing. That means we need more land for agriculture. We need space to settle. We need a lot of things to satisfy our needs, but we need to do it in a manner that is not going to destroy our environment. It's not going to cause discomfort or is not going to endanger the animals. So yes, I think it has a direct linkage.
All right. So what's your response also to the same question, Chiagoze? To the question on is there direct connection between human activity encroaching on ecosystem and the effect on the pandemic? Chiagozie, you're on unmute your line. We can't hear you. Unmute your line. Yes. Yeah. Should I repeat the question again, Chiagozie?
Carol, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. All right. He's going to come back in a few. So Caroline. Caroline.
Yes.
I have a question. What are the lessons you can take away at this moment with regard to COVID-19 and climate change?
Well, mine is just a simple lesson that humans are the agents of environmental degradation, and that we have seen from the amount of carbon emissions that are recorded in the atmosphere at this moment from different parts of the world, based on the satellite images released by NASA. We've seen animals coming out to the streets, like, now they're taking over, they are free to move around. So it means when humanity was there, or humans were just being against, the coexistence between humans and animals. So for me, one of the lessons is humans are the agents of environmental degradation, and we are the causes of environmental degradation, and we have the solutions to these problems in the environment. We can develop policies to address climate change. We can develop policies to address environmental degradation to ensure that our environment is conserved, the wildlife are conserved. So my simple lesson is we are the agents of environmental degradation.
All right. So, Chiagozie, can you hear us now? Chiagozie? Okay. We'll come back to Chiagozie later on. So, I'd like to ask you,
Yes,
Kabine.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear? Oh, okay. So, here is my question to you, Chiagozie, because you had disappeared before answering this question. Is there direct connection between human activity encroaching on the ecosystem and the effect on the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. So apparently 75% of imagine and reimagine infectious diseases, they come from animals. And how do we get them? Because we go to disrupt the habitat of the immediate host of these viruses and infectious diseases. They now easily find their way into human habitat. So if we're able to stop disrupting biodiversity in tremendous folds as we're currently doing, then we can let animals be in peace in their habitat, and we also be in peace in our own habitat. If you check down history, it is mostly, especially in the recent histories, mostly because of the extended interaction between human and animal habitats, most of them in very unethical ways, that are amplifying and escalating the spread of infectious diseases. A lot of them in the last few years have come from animals. So as much as the more we learn how to let animals be in their habitat and stay in ours, we will be able to avoid a couple of these things. We've degraded biodiversity and depleted our ecosystem in tremendous ways. That's why the UN apparently will be launching the Decade of Ecosystem Restoration from 2021 to 2030. And that is vitally important to restore the incredible amount of ecosystem that we've degraded already on this planet.
All right. So I'd like to ask you this question. What are the lessons we can take away at this moment with regard to COVID-19 and climate change? Chiagozie.
It's simple. We have the solutions to every problem we think we have on the planet. We can do it. We can take drastic measures when we really want to, not because we cannot. And I think one big lesson for me is that sometimes, when we go for climate negotiations and you're talking to governments, member states, they're telling you, oh, this is difficult. We have to do this, do that. We don't have any other resource. We have to do oil. We have to do this. There's no money. For example, we have the GCF, the Green Climate Fund. It has not received up to $20 billion since it's been established. It has not received up to this burst of people. And what are we targeting for GCF from this year? We are targeting 100 billion annually for the GCF, and countries are just making piecemeal pledges. When you ask them, you say that they don't have money. They don't have money for this. They don't have money for that. But how much are they spending now? Some countries are spending $6 trillion to do their stimulus package. $6 trillion. Countries are donating money to World Health Organizations. Some are donating 200 million pounds, $500 million. And when you tell them to do this for climate and environment, they tell you they don't have money. So this has shown us clearly that the money is there. What is lacking is the political will to put the money where our mouth is. And we must back our pledges, our commitments, our nationally determined contributions, and even the Paris Agreement with the required financial and political backing to be able to reap the fruits. So for me, I think knowing that we can match any ambition we've already set now is a vital lesson for us, that we don't need to lower our ambitions whatsoever for our government on climate action.
All right. Thank you for the answer. Kabine, I'd
Yes.
like to ask you, what are the lessons we can take away at this moment with regard to COVID-19 and climate change?
Question
Quelle est la-
Yeah, question clean.
Qu'est-ce qu'on prend comme
Yeah,
conseil?
conseil.
Bon, on a vu aujourd'hui que il est possible de diminuer les COD.
Yeah, we seen that today it's really possible to diminish the
COD.
COD.
Et nous avons vu aujourd'hui aussi qu'il est possible de préserver l'environnement.
And we also have seen that it's really possible to preserve the environment.
Mais ça n'a pas été notre volonté de le faire. Il y a eu une contrainte qui nous a poussé de le faire.
You know, it was just about the willing to do so. We didn't have the willing to do so.
Ça n'a pas été notre propre volonté de le faire. Or, on pouvait le faire, mais il y a eu une contrainte qui est venue nous pousser maintenant à préserver l'environnement.
Yeah, it wasn't really our priority in the first place, but still, now since we see that it's impacting our daily life, you know, we now really taking a drastic measure to, you know, really do something.
Nous devons prendre conscience maintenant que l'environnement doit être protégé.
Yeah, we have to be really conscious right now that the environment should be protected.
Et je pense que c'est le moment de réfléchir et de continuer dans cette dynamique pour que les générations futures aient un avenir plus préservé.
Yeah, I think it is time now we have to wake up and we have to stay in this dynamic so the future generation can have a better world.
Ce que nous avons appris aussi, c'est que il y a eu le côté positif, c'est par rapport à l'environnement, parce que l'environnement devient de plus en plus sain.
You know, the positive that I've seen in this pandemic is the environment. You know,
Mais le côté négatif, très très négatif, c'est par rapport aux décès, c'est par rapport aux morts, c'est par rapport aux activités qui ont été arrêtées à cause de cette pandémie.
And the negative part of it that we're seeing people dying because of this pandemic and other activities has stopped.
Donc, je peux tirer les deux effets. Ce que je retiens, ce sont ces deux côtés, le côté positif par rapport à l'environnement et le côté négatif par rapport aux morts.
And those are the only two lessons I think now we all can have from this pandemic. You know, the positive part on the environment and the negative that people are dying from it, this pandemic.
Voilà.
That's it.
All right. So, so there is a viewer who has asked a question. All right. And I'll ask all of you so that you can answer. Should there be a different way of measuring economic success? Should gross domestic product be ditched for something else that protects humans and the environment better? Have you heard the question, Caroline? All right. All right. So let me ask Kabine.
Yeah.
There's someone who has asked a question, a viewer. Should there be a different way of measuring economic success? Should gross domestic product be ditched for something else that protects humans and the environment better?
Est-ce que maintenant il croit qu'il doit y avoir, you know, économie fandota pour que c'est quand nous faire nous bali quoi?
Économie t'as une fois que sera le monde c'est ça.
Non, économie fandota pour la prévention de ces trucs là.
Oui, bien sûr, bien sûr. Ils doivent, on doit puiser surtout si l'armement, il n'a pas de nécessité aujourd'hui dans le monde. On voit que les pays les plus industrialisés sont à la guerre de l'armement. Ils mettent beaucoup de budget dans l'armement. Donc, ces budgets n'ont pas d'impact. Aujourd'hui, nous voulons un monde plus meilleur, un monde sans guerre. Donc, on ne voit pas la nécessité de mettre des milliards dans l'armement, dans les bombes atomiques, pour préparer quoi?
You know, he's saying that at this moment, we've seen that a lot of things that we're doing, like spending a lot of money on weapons and so many things that are really not necessary in our lives. So all this money can go to this type of project, just to prevent something like this happening in the near future.
Justement. Et l'économie peut être, on peut économiser beaucoup sur l'armement de guerre et surtout si les industries, si les grandes industries arrivent aussi à diminuer la pollution en économisant beaucoup en prélevant des pays les plus développés pour pouvoir investir dans l'environnement.
If this industrialized country can save money from doing so many stuff as building the weapons and doing so many unnecessary things, but those money can go, he's repeating the same thing, this money can go to the in the research, in a better way to protect the end, so we can still.
Vous imaginez un peu le budget de l'armée américaine, le budget de l'armée française, le budget de l'armée indienne, le budget de l'armée de la Chine, le budget de l'armée de l'Angleterre.
He's talking about, if you take a look at the budget of the army of all these countries, it's unbelievable. But now, at the same time, during this pandemic, you can hear about the lack of masks, you can hear about the lack of tests, and all of that stuff is really incredible.
Tous ces budgets, c'est pourquoi? On met tous ces budgets dans l'armée, pourquoi? Pour combattre qui? Pour tuer qui? Notre prochain.
And all these budgets on armament to do what? Just to kill your own. And now you have an invisible enemy that you can't do really much about.
Ça n'a pas d'impact. Ils doivent orienter ces fonds, ces budgets à d'autres recherches qui peuvent encore nous apporter plus à l'humanité.
And those budgets must really go to a different sector, like the research on, that's gonna serve the humanity instead of destroying it.
Et je pense que les activistes aussi peuvent en profiter de cette pandémie pour pouvoir mettre la pression sur les dirigeants des pays qui se disent développés. Donc, pour que dans les années à venir, les budgets de l'armée soient divisés en 2 ou en 4 pour mettre ça dans la santé, dans l'environnement, dans l'éducation et pour combattre la pauvreté.
And again, it's the time for the activists to really push and really put the pressure on the government to really, divide all those budgets that go to the army and all that stuff, to be, to cut the budget in half or 3, and some of that money should go to the health and the researches and, all this, and the environment.
All right. So I'd like to pose the same question now to Chigozie.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question. What is the question?
All right. So the question is this. Just a minute. So there's a viewer who had asked, Just a minute. Just reading the question. So should there be a different way to measure sustainable growth rather than GDP?
That conversation could be had. I mean, it depends on what works for now. We're using the GDP, even though it does not completely reflect, important indicators or parameters that we consider sustainable development. But it's something that could be reviewed. I think that conversation has started at the very basic level. It could go to the global, desk post-pandemic, but I don't really have an immediate, ready-made alternative to the GDP. But I agree. I mean, it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it's already started.
Oh, all right. So, someone had even asked, so should GDP, gross domestic product, be ditched for something else that protects human and the environment better?
I mean, easily you can easily guess that, for environment activists will easily agree to that. But also, I mean, something that is equitable, something that considers that's why it has to be sustainable. So far, it's sustainable. It considers all sectors of the economy, gives people jobs that are sustainable. Why not? We can make that transition quickly.
All right. So, viewer, I'd like to say thank you for joining us. And Kabine, can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask you, like, your translator.
Yes.
Kindly ask him to introduce himself and what he does for a living.
Oh, is the cabine or the interpreter?
No, you.
Yeah, I'm a tour guide here in New York City. My name is Suleiman Toure.
Oh, Suleiman Toure.
Yes.
Oh,
and,
all right.
I'm a tour guide right now in New York City. That's my job. Yeah, that's what I do for living.
Oh, we can't see you clearly. Could you?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Okay. Kindly introduce yourself once again.
Yeah, my name is Suleiman Toure from Mali, actually, and I'm a tour guide right now in New York City.
Oh, all right. So I just want to say thank you, Suleiman,
thank you
for taking the time to translate for our comrade Kabine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And it was a pleasure having you.
That's a really fun to be, doing this. That's actually my first time to do something like that. And hopefully, I was on the point. You guys were really understanding what I was saying.
Yes. But
thank you.
All right, welcome. So Kabine.
Yes.
All right, so Caroline, you're back. I can see Caroline. So I'd like to thank you, viewer, for watching this episode where we were discussing the relation between COVID-19 and climate change. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly go ahead by clicking on the button below and then also clicking on the notification button so that you can be notified anytime we go live. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Caroline or Kabine? Last word.
Y a-t-il quelque chose que je veux ajouter?
Oui, c'est de dire que le développement, nous avons vu aujourd'hui que tout ce que nous sommes en train de faire dans le monde il faut mettre l'être humain au centre, au début et à la fin de toutes choses que nous faisons.
And right now, from what we've seen, is that we should put human life in the center of whatever we're doing from the beginning at the end.
Mais pas l'argent, pas l'économie au-dessus de l'homme.
Not the economy above the human life or the greed and all that stuff.
C'est l'être humain qui doit être au centre de tout.
And again, human being has to be in the center of everything.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons tout oublié. Tous les armes que nous avons tout oublié.
And if you take a look today, we have forgotten about everything we have built, armament and building infrastructure and all of that.
Nous sommes tous concentrés sur cette maladie aujourd'hui.
And everybody's focused on this pandemic right now.
Mais l'être humain est tellement intelligent que nous sommes allés sur la Lune. Nous avons créé la bombe atomique. Nous pouvons détruire le monde en 24 heures. Mais on n'arrive pas aujourd'hui à avoir des médicaments pour cette maladie.
And we as a human being, we went on the moon. We built atomic bomb. We can destroy the whole world in 24 hours. But it's been about months now. We're still finding only a vaccine for something that, is really incredible.
Donc, cela doit nous interpeller tous. Pourquoi investir tous ces milliards pour détruire son prochain?
And why invest all this money to destroy the others? Why you can't even, make a vaccine to, help yourself and save yourself?
Aujourd'hui, la technologie est tellement que les États-Unis peuvent aller bombarder en Afrique et revenir en 24 heures aux États-Unis encore.
And because of this technology, the US can go and destroy the whole African continent in 24 hours because of their armament. But then at the same time, they are really limited to just have a really, something to help themselves right now from this pandemic.
Donc, je pense que nous devons passer aux générations futures. Que tout ce que nous faisons, tôt ou tard, ça va nous rattraper.
And,
nous devons préserver ce monde.
Again, we have to do whatever we can for the future generation to help them out.
Nous devons penser aux pauvres.
And we have to think about the poor people.
Les pays puissants qui se disent industrialisés doivent penser qu'il y a d'autres qui sont à l'autre bout du monde, qui sont en train de mourir de faim.
And the so-called industrialized country have to know that on the part of the world, people are dying from hunger. That's not a pandemic.
Donc, il est temps de faire une solidarité mondiale pour l'avenir du monde.
It's time for a world solidarity to help everybody and save the world.
Mais pas pour les pays individuellement.
And not just for the country, not just for one country.
La pandémie aujourd'hui, pour venir aux États-Unis, en France, en Allemagne, il faut prendre le visa. Mais la pandémie n'a pas eu besoin de visa pour aller dans ces pays.
Yeah, to go to the US or France or anywhere you need a visa, but this pandemic didn't need visa to go anywhere.
Donc, nous devons prendre conscience. Nous devons penser à l'avenir du pays et préserver l'environnement, apporter du positif pour avoir un monde meilleur. Merci.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So I'd like now to bring on board Caroline. Caroline, what's your is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, my last
to
words.
finalize this conversation. Yes, your last words.
Yeah, my final words. Environmental resources have no exact price tag. So it is not going to be easy for us to put a price tag to the environmental resources. But if we are not careful, if we degrade them, we destroy them, then the repercussions of that are going to cost our lives, our economy, and all our livelihoods in a very negative way. So let's all rally behind our governments and rally behind organizations and all people who have a good interest towards environmental conservation to ensure that we protect the environment, we act on climate change, and I think we are going to lead a better future and create a sustainable future for our next generations.
All right. So Chiagozie, any last word? Is there anything else you'd like to add? Chiagozie can't hear us. Chiagozie? So viewer. All right, it's refreshing his internet. Chiagozie, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, any last word as we finish this conversation, as we wind up this conversation?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very interesting conversation. I hope the world learns from this. It's a terrible lesson and it's an incredible opportunity for us to retool and refocus in a very sustainable way. An opportunity we should not miss. Thank you.
All right. So viewer, thank you for watching this live show where we discuss the relationship between now the COVID-19 and the climate change and the impact the pandemic is having on climate change. So if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe. And then you'll also be notified anytime we go live. So thanks once again. I appreciate you taking your time to watch now this live video. So see you soon when we go live as we discuss another subject. So thank you all of you for participating, and I hope to see you in the near future so that we can meet face to face after the pandemic.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
And
Okay,
be
bye
safe.
bye. All right, be safe, be safe. All right.
Merci, son. Merci bien.
All right. All right. So it's been a pleasure having you, and yep. So let me wind up.